Hello there, I'm Raven, and I am the card reader of this channel. I'm just going to give you a little bit information in regards to the free spreads and why we do have free spreads. So let's just say that I traveled a lot in the East. I've been nomadic for 8 years, and I come from a very rich country which is abundant. The wages are high, and let's just say that the people who come from this country have a lot of benefits. Not the same benefits as people of different Asian countries. I spent a lot of time in India, and I saw not only how a lot of women was disrespected there, but I also saw or witnessed or learned that a regular wage for an Indian woman, I suppose that's would not be necessarily more than about $100 to $150 a month, which shocked me. I was with this travel agency, and she apparently had said something that was not so nice, and they would treat her like crap. She was in tears. Unfortunately, she couldn't speak English. I tried to find a way to comfort her. I even considered hiring her because I think I can pay them more than unfortunately, excuse me, they didn't have or she didn't have the skills in English and the skills I needed, but she was sitting there crying alone, and no one would be there of the men working there comforting her. I think the tears itself said that I'm sorry that there could have been a misunderstanding. They were laughing, they were having fun, and needless to say, in the end of the day, it didn't take long before me and my friends, we fired this travel agency. The fact that they basically, I learned that especially in South India, as a foreigner, you will meet a lot of two-faced people. But I also met people with a beautiful heart. And so just for fun, I started to play with tarot, and people came and asked me, can you do me? Can you do me? So symbolically, I just asked for 100 rupee, which is basically $1 in my country. And that's what can you buy for $1? Well, nothing. So I met this gentle couple who they would pay me double because they were so excited. So they gave me 200 rupee. And I truly appreciated that, because when I am in India, I can actually buy things, a lot of things, for 100 rupee and 200 rupee, right? So I have my tough part of life as well. Just because you're Norwegian doesn't mean that you're necessarily wealthy. The debt that you have might compensate for, but you still have this privilege of having access to, especially when you are in specific situation. There's no such thing as, it's illegal to live in the streets in Norway. So basically, if you have no place to live, the state or the community is obligated to find you a place to live. They're also obligated to keep you alive. So learning about the low wages when I was in India, to see, you know, people living in the streets, to see children living in the streets, children begging, grown-up people using their own babies. Some of them are drugged just to keep them asleep so they can make money. And it's easy to judge them, but what choice do they have? So there are a lot of Indians who are barely surviving in the streets. And those who have a place to stay, they could consider themselves having a good job if their income is close to $500. Then they are considered to be, oh, you're well paid, dude. And even no longer, you don't have to go longer than Spain, where someone told me, you should date that guy. He was his friend, and she looked at me and said, he's like, loads of money. And then I learned that his amount of money was $750 a month, which is, well, let's just say I learned to shut my mouth. It's not a high amount of money in Norway. Besides, you wouldn't survive on that. $750 is, if you're lucky, you can get a small place to live after the pandemic and these things and the war and blah blah blah. It's now 30% more expensive to live in Norway. However, it doesn't mean that Norwegians sometimes get in money troubles, and you know, in my case, I want to start up my own business. And I also had debt. I got in debt from being cheated on by my own partner, and I was forced by law to pay his debt, which many Norwegians, they find themselves in a situation where they are over their heads. When I started the Freespreads in Bangkok 1.5 years ago, it was a chill kind of charity project, because I knew that a lot of people out there, basically the rest of the world, they don't have the wages Norwegians have. And it was meant as a, not just charity, but, you know, maybe you are in need of some career advice. Maybe you are in need of some advice in general. Turns out that 90% of the advices is from people who live a pretty decent life, who wants to get married. That's what they are afraid of. And if that's what in some cases, it's like, I have to marry, because if I don't, I'll go down the drain. I might end up in the streets. I get that part. But are you really in a need, in a Freespread need? It's like, you know, I have enough money for my own food, but I'm going to run the streets where there are charity being put up for people who cannot afford food. And I'm going to stay there so I can save my own money. And so that's not very ethical. So basically, you have someone here who's been working for free again and again and again and again. I see how this has been draining me. I also see that a lot of people who are trolling, who are ungrateful, but most of them are very grateful, but you take very literally that is free. We have this code that when we set up something for free in Norway, someone like a spiritual class, someone brings a little bit cookie, someone brings a little bit something to drink, we all buy a little bit, and we're making it a great party. Sometimes I found myself doing this, but I also found myself with the leftover bill, and people will still expect me to throw that kind of spiritual retreat where we talk about our dreams, we talk about ascensions, we talk about meditation, chakras, and all those kind of new age kind of things. And most people would bring something as a gesture. So when I put up the Freespreads, it was difficult for especially Indians to access my PayPal, and I respected that. And I said, it's okay, I'll live, right? But I see some of you are getting free food from the people who can't afford, who barely can afford food at all. And you're taking up the space of those. Why? Because you want to save your own money, right? And the only thing here is that the Freespreads are made for those who are in need of assistance, of those who are in need of help, of those who needs to be heard. And I see that, should it be necessary for me to say such a thing? And when someone are working for free for hours and hours and hours and hours, I lose money myself. I could spend those money on my business and send out the print work that I do and make money while I sleep. Yeah? But still, I found some pleasure in being with you. I highly enjoy the social activity. In the beginning, it was very relaxed. Now that we have the opportunity to basically donate through YouTube, as we are now being monitorized, people come back again and again and again and again, and the problem they have is not lack of money. If you can afford a cell phone, if you can afford a car, if you can afford good food, you can afford $2 to become a member, to get your VIP. And the universe works like this. When you give something, something will come in return. For those who just take, it's like listening to the street artist. You enjoy his music and you sit there a little bit extra. Maybe there's a restaurant by and you enjoy his music. And you're like, wow, this wouldn't be the same without the musician. He made this evening great. So we offer a couple of dollars to that guy, sometimes even $10 to that guy who makes a living of this because he have no other job. There are people here who are considered to be VIPs simply because I've been forced to create a ranking system. Okay? Because I see that there are people coming in again and again and again and again who are so obsessed with the idea that it says Freespreads. Even though you're a billionaire, and I sit there and I actually give most of you from $5 to $10 to $15 Freespreads when you should only get 3 cards. Because that's how much I enjoy helping, and that's how much I enjoy doing the spreads. And still, they will come back the next day And it would be like, sometimes there is a little bit more traffic, and they would be like, is that all? And why don't you see me? Many of you think of yourself as very special. And why don't you remember you said this and this and this and this, not knowing that at most we had 3,000 people last summer being, I was spending a lot of time on this. I've been sitting here for 10 hours and not one out of the 500 people, or at some point 700 people being here. 700 people not donating as much as $2. What are those dollars going for? Well, we did adopt a puppy. Yes, of course, I give him $15 a month. That's not the main thing. I'm trying to build up something here. Like someone trying to resurrect the vinyl. We want the vinyl back. I want the old comics back, and I want something different on the market. And I want to follow what was God given to me, and I encourage all of you to do the same. So, but you keep coming asking me the same question when I 10 sessions ago gave you the answer, right? So I see myself spending a lot of time of people who have more than enough money, because this is about me sitting here giving you maybe 10 to 15 minutes of my time again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And when I hint that, you know, you can buy me a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, someone here would go like, but it's for free. I don't even have words for that kind of behavior. And the people like this, who behave like this, let's just say that I have more than enough space and time to not be in need of you. And when it comes to people and rank, if someone takes their time, money, and pay me, let's say $10 to $20 for a read, because I go very, very deep, and not like other Freespreads who like ding, maybe, and then next, right? Because they want more. They want more subscribers. They want more money. And most of them will probably ask you for $1 first. That's not my goal. My goal is to print my own cards successfully. We have done the test prints and we use them, and they are just fine. And I have a few more cards left in regards to the main tarot deck, and then I'm good to go. Doesn't mean I'm going to disappear on you right first when it comes to the Freespread, but with this kind of mentality, I'm asking, are you for real? There are people there who are in need of the Freespread because they have zero money. They don't have 100 rupee. And I'd say as much that if you have, let's say 1,000, 2,000 rupees spare for whatever, then what's the problem buying someone a cup of coffee who are doing you a favor when you're coming back again and again and again, and thinking that you are having I should give you some special privileges because you come back again and again and again and again. In fact, you are standing in the way for those who are new and for those who are standing in the back of the shadows, not saying much. And there are also this crew that says that I'm on the list, so I still, if you are so tired that you're about to faint and you have all these back pains, I'm still on the list, so you have to sit here for 4 hours more. And for that, I'm asking you, yeah, can you buy me can I have a sip of your coffee then? Ha! You cannot. It's for free. So this is the, you know, I hope this is not the overall mentality of how people behave, but if this is the overall of the Indian mentality, which I unfortunately experienced when I was in South India for a very long time, then I'd say that's why you are poor.